All right, we'll just wait a minute for people to file in. Just give it a few more seconds. All right, well, this is intended to be a lightning round, so let's go ahead and jump into it. Welcome, everybody. I hope you're having a great conference. I'm Marty Rosendale, the CEO of the Maryland Technology Council, and I'm here with Brad Stewart, who's the chairman of the Maryland Life Sciences Board and Senior Vice President of Business Development for Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation. Hey, Brad.
Hey, Marty. Great seeing you as always.
Yeah. So, Brad, you and I have known each other for a while. You've been a champion of biotechnology in the industry in Maryland for quite some time. Can you just give us some background on that and why you're so passionate about it?
Sure. Part of it's just been a long experience and seeing the ability of companies in the state to succeed and continue to grow. This is almost a quarter of a century I've been living in Maryland and running life sciences biotechnology companies, and along with the Maryland Tech Council, been really working as an advocate to help our industry and help these companies grow for probably 12 or 15 years now. And it really is a stunning amount of companies and resources that are available here, and one that for a long time I've really thought about what's unique about it. And one of the things that really has continued to strike me over the decades is that there literally is no place on earth like Maryland for the biotechnology community. And the reason for that is we have the Food and Drug Administration here, which is the largest regulator of drugs and medical devices, biotech products in the entire world. We also have the National Institutes of Health, which is the largest researcher in the life sciences arena in the entire world. And then additionally, we have the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, which is the largest payer for those services in the entire world. It alone has a budget of over $1 trillion a year just to support the Medicare and parts of the Medicaid program. So there is just a stunning confluence of opportunities here.
So Brad, those federal labs and federal agencies, you know, we talk about them a lot, but why is it important? Why is it valuable to be in close proximity to them?
Well, I know we all have to have relationships with those organizations, whether it's they're paying for products we're developing, they're researching the products we're developing, or they're going to regulate and allow us to sell the products that we're developing. And it is obviously possible, and certainly people around the world do that in a formal perspective. They can send them emails now, which used to be, faxes, and before that was FedEx packages and everything else to communicate with them, phone calls and everything else. But I think what ultimately I found in my decades here is that that's not a substitute for human-to-human interaction. I think that's something that we're all seeing even in our own companies today, is there is a significant difference or a notable difference between being able to talk to someone and have a relationship with them and see them in person, or even see them informally out when you're running or spending time with your family, or your kids go to school together, and having people who you have a genuine human connection with rather than someone who's simply a email address on the other side of your computer screen.
Yeah, no, I found it tremendously valuable to be in close proximity to those labs and agencies. So Brad, here in Maryland, Montgomery County, Baltimore, Frederick, we've developed a really fascinating, probably second to none, life sciences industry cluster. Can you talk a little bit about that and the concentration of biotech companies in the region?
Well, there's a significant number of those companies, and they're concentrated really in the three areas you mentioned. Here in Montgomery County, where we are, which is really the hub of those life sciences companies along the I-270 corridor. In Baltimore, which is a somewhat more urban environment, there are companies, particularly some in vaccine and other types of advanced biomanufacturing, that are in the city. Like I said, with more of an urban environment. And then just northwest of us in Frederick, which is a little bit more rural environment. where we sometimes see some larger greenfield manufacturing facilities. As a matter of fact, Kite's building the largest CAR-T manufacturing facility in the world in Frederick right now as we speak. And so there's a great diversity of types of locations that are available here in the state and in this area, and everything someone can imagine. But really, as you've noted in our previous discussions, there really is a significant amount of advanced biomanufacturing occurring here in the state. A lot of cell and gene manufacturing therapy. This gets back to your early question of why here, because most of that came out of developments at the National Cancer Institute and NIH. So the people who developed that technology literally live here and are able to do those sorts of things. Certainly in proteins and monoclonal antibodies, where we've had a lot of action over the years. And vaccine manufacturing, which is, you can see, is skyrocketing in this area, even prior to this pandemic. As Jim Greenwood noted this morning, there's already 40 companies in Maryland. Almost a third of all of the vaccine development in the world is happening right here in Maryland.
Yeah, which is amazing. But of course, with that kind of density of industry, workforce can become an issue. So what does the workforce look like to support those industries?
It can become an issue, but I think here we see some interesting, not only is there a tremendous amount of diversity in the workforce here, not as far as skills, but also the people that live here. Where we are in Montgomery County is one of the most diverse counties in the entire country. And it has 2 of the top 10 most diverse cities in the entire country. And so we have a lot of people coming from different countries to work here, bringing those backgrounds to us. We have a tremendous influx of people that come from Asia and from Europe who get their postdoctoral training or other training at the National Institutes of Health that provide a tremendous resource base for companies here in the area and gain those critical skill sets. We also have an educational system that draws from the entire Washington, D.C. region very easily, from Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, GW University, and a lot of other places here in the Maryland, DC, and Virginia area, even down to community college, the college level. Montgomery College, one of our local colleges, has a tremendous biotech training program. And what we found working with the employers here is many of these jobs, particularly in advanced manufacturing, those sorts of things, really benefit from people who develop certifications in specific techniques or have associate's degrees in biotechnology.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Brad, this morning, Jim Greenwood talked about the willingness of biotechnology companies to collaborate, to work with one another, to enter into public-private partnerships, particularly around the response to COVID-19. And that's happening all over the world right now. What does that environment for collaboration look like in this area?
It's remarkable. It's really amazing at the willingness and ability of companies to come together and try and do everything possible to help each other. We do have an interesting diversity of types of companies which are here. So when you look at companies that do drug development, we also have companies that do manufacturing. So it's very easy for companies to partner with companies that can develop their products for them. We have a smaller company, Altimmune, who started developing a vaccine candidate for COVID at the beginning of the pandemic, but an early scale research and development company, not one that was had their own manufacturing and those sorts of things, and was able to partner with another company here, Vigene, and Vigene jumped in immediately and started to manufacture their drug candidate product and all the materials they needed to start early stage clinical trials. So you have those very interesting, rapidly moving types of partnerships where not even just in the case of the coronavirus pandemic, which I think people are incredibly receptive to jumping in and helping anyone do anything possible. But I think that's pretty typical for the culture here, is you have people who are willing to jump in and help you do whatever's necessary to succeed.
Yeah, I think for me, I've been with biotech companies across the country, and I've come back here to be the CEO of 2, specifically because of that collaborative environment. So Brad, the big question, right? Young companies, startups, they need capital. What's access to capital look like in this region?
Well, I think you and I have discussed this before. We both believe that access to capital is really one that's both a national and international one. Companies that have the best value propositions to put forward really have the most competitive opportunities regardless of where they're located. We work hard to help with that. the organization that I work with, Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation, we have a lot of tools for early stage companies, so pre-Series A capital. A lot of programs to help those companies with grants like SBIR and STTR programs. Our county even has a matching grant program for those sorts of things. As you know, we've spent a lot of time advocating in the state of Maryland for the bio-investor tax credit, which is a huge benefit we're very thankful for that the state of Maryland offers. And then there are really stunningly successful, remarkable programs like the Maryland Tech Council operates. The Venture Mentoring Service, which is targeted towards those companies which are getting ready to raise Series A capital, actually pairs those companies with mentors who can help them through that process to refine their pitch deck, understand who they should be going out and talking to raise capital, and in its past 5 years has been beyond stunningly successful, approaching now $60 million in capital it's helped those companies raise. And at that point, we really think it's an opportunity for those companies to start to move to professional investors that are looking at large scale national, international venture capital firms. And then obviously, as you've seen in the pandemic, the companies we have that are working in that area, in the 4 months post-pandemic, there was over $3 billion invested in Montgomery County companies to not only for vaccine development, for other therapeutic developments.
So first of all, thank you for the mention of the Venture Mentoring Service. Appreciate that.
Oh, thank you for doing it.
You mentioned Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation and some of the value and benefits that you bring. Can you tell us more about how Montgomery County can help companies grow?
Well, for us, it's one, can we help them find the right home? We want their home to be here, but in doing that, we want to be able to make sure they have a location that works for them, where they can scale up like they need to. We have programs that help not only to help them find those, to help make them more affordable for them in the forms of grants to help them move into those types of places. Additionally, we will work to connect them with whatever the resources are that they need, whether it's to help them figure out how to find the employees that they need here, the talent, whether it's to help them find sources of funding, mentorship, to connect them to those companies that are willing to help them, just like you mentioned, that can collaborate with them. So for us, I think we not only hopefully provide a critical resource in sort of capital resources, but for people, but also in those interpersonal relationships for people to succeed here.
Mm-hmm. So Brad, you not only work in Montgomery County, you live in Montgomery County. So for someone looking to move their business here, what can you say about the lifestyle features and other aspects of the county? Well,
this just is a remarkable place to live. As you can see behind me, this is a photograph of Glenstone Museum, which is a several $100 million modern art museum, which is in a rural area about 10 minutes from my house. There is a spectacular access to culture. We're on the border of Washington, D.C. with all of the amazing museums you could imagine. For those people interested in politics, obviously we have our entire political system located here, and a park system, which is remarkable, which is about a third of Montgomery County is agricultural reserve, and a substantial portion of it is reserved as parkland. I am fortunate to have lived here for a long time, to have gotten to enjoy those things, and now as the parent of a young child who's in our school system here, I'm very thankful of what this county and state has to offer us.
Great. So Brad, we have about a minute left. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you'd like to mention?
Well, as I talked a little bit about the diversity of types of companies that are here, another thing that we run into a lot are those partners who are here. We have a large breadth of clinical research organizations who can help companies, a significant number of contract manufacturing organizations, or also CDMOs. So we have people like Catalent who are here to help companies succeed, and companies that like Emergent Biosolutions, who do not only incredible work for the government related to this pandemic, but also for their partners in this area. So I'd encourage everyone to come and talk to us and hopefully grow with us here in Maryland and Montgomery County.
Great, thank you. So this has been Brad Stewart, Chairman of the Maryland Life Sciences Board and Senior Vice President of Business Development for Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation. Brad, thank you for your support. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Marty. Much appreciated.